Hey guys, my name is Tony Collier. This is my amazing husband,
Sam.
and we're standing here with Shanti Feldhahn, and we have had such an amazing time with you guys throughout all these sessions. We're in session 6 right now. We're getting ready to hop right in and learn about some of those final things that can carry you into an amazing kindness journey.
That's right. It's called Kindness for Life, am I right? And this is a little bit sad, right? Because this is our last one. I want to read something that Gary Chapman said about this book. He said, this book has the potential to change the emotional climate of our culture.
Wow.
And it needs some changing, right?
Oh, yes.
And we can be a part of it. And I think everybody who's been doing the 30-Day Kindness Challenge, one of the common denominators is this feeling like, I don't want to stop this journey that I'm on. And you don't have to.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about what you can do to make it a habit for life.
Oh,
Yes.
it's going to be great.
Listen, if we don't see you again, we love you. We thank you so much for going on this challenge with us. It's going to be incredible. And remember this, if all of us get involved in this, we can start a kindness revolution.
Well, friends, welcome back and welcome to our last session together of this video series and study of the Married People 30-Day Kindness Challenge. If you've been doing the standard weekly session approach and working on the 30-Day Kindness Challenge, you only have a few more days to go. Congratulations. So this is going to be a short video session because in your discussion time with your group, I want you to be able to take the time for a special focus on one overall question. What are you going to do once the 30 days are over? This is a crucial question as all of us move forward because most participants in the research told us that they wanted to keep their new lifestyle of kindness going. They saw the difference it made in their spouse and in themselves. But yet at the same time, as soon as the 30 days were over, inevitably something tested their resolve. He pushed all her buttons, or she wanted to jump back into venting or exasperation or other types of negativity. Or because they weren't regularly thinking about, what do I praise today? They then realized a few days later, you know what? I haven't expressed affirmation at all in the last few days, and so on. It is easy to slide when we're not being purposeful. And yet God challenges us in Galatians 6:9. Let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. I know we all want that harvest of blessing in our marriages, so how do we not get tired of doing what is good? Thankfully, we found that a few actions make it much easier to stay purposeful over time. The first is to decide ahead of time what you want to continue working on. Almost like an ongoing 30-day kindness challenge that keeps renewing. For example, if there is one thing that you've seen work really well in your marriage, what is that one thing that you want to keep doing? Or if there's an area you know you still need to do better at, what is that? Where do you want to continue to grow? Think about that and make a decision. And don't be vague about it. Instead, identify at least one thing very purposefully that you want to keep doing. Write it down. You might consider using the final self-assessment action plan on the assessments page of jointhekindnesschallenge.com/marriedpeople to work through and capture that decision for future use. But today, share that one thing with the others in your group and get their feedback and insight on what will help you to do that. And in turn, share your suggestions with others from all that you have learned so far.
As we pursue the lifestyle, what are some areas from all of you guys, we can chime in as well, of improvement that you think you have in being nicer or kinder in your marriages?
It's given me a paradigm shift because I kind of rebooted to assume the best. I rebooted to look forward to saying the next nice thing and to looking for that positive. I just feel like I have a shift.
As part of that challenge, I think one of the things I have to work on more is expressing it verbally. Because I can, all the nice things you do, and that's great. Right. But she does need to hear me say once in a while how pretty she is, how nice she looks.
Yes, she does.
I don't know if you've noticed or not, but I try to, or when she, irons a shirt or does anything, I can't take that for granted.
I love bragging to our daughter about him. 'Cause I want her to look for that in somebody when she gets married, so.
And it has been nice to hear her say at least one time, and probably, hopefully more, that I want to marry a guy like Dad. So that's nice.
Come on, guys. Areas of improvement for kindness.
So we've been moving this week, and it's been a huge thing of thinking forward of like, I'm so tired, but I should just go ahead and do it first, because I know that he would do that for me. So being able to like clean up, at the end of the day, we're both exhausted, but I think it's remembering like, when we have our individual work to do, it's harder to remember that they're tired from whatever they were doing. You're just focused on what you were doing. But it was a nice moment of reflection to go at a project together and thinking like, hey, like we're both tired, but we're both gonna give it our all, and then go to bed at the end of the day knowing that we tried our best for each other because we're building our home together.
One of the things that we've done that has helped us be kinder is we go, okay, hold on, time out. Let me take a step out. And then you get your bearings. Okay, cool. Because you know we'll be like on the football field with one of us, and it's like and then we come back and we're able to be kinder in that moment, as opposed to being worked up and going back and forth. And so, what would you say?
Well, I would definitely say that as well, because what it says is my desire to finish this conversation and say the things that I want to say, and when I want to say it, is not more important than making sure that we have peace when we're talking. And that, to me, I mean, that's just. It's been so big for us.
The second thing that will help going forward is to think back on the great things that you've already seen happen in your life and relationships because of going through this process. Look back through your notebook at what you tried as you interacted with your spouse and what their response was each time, and then over time. Celebrate those things that worked well, and you'll want to keep doing them. Third, just as important, identify which of the superpowers of kindness you've realized that you now have. We haven't talked as much about the superpowers of kindness in our video study thus far because earlier on in the process, before you developed competence at being kind, you wouldn't really see it as a superpower yet. But now, we are far enough along that I'll bet you already have seen that kindness has given you some of those game-changing superpowers. So as another great way to incent yourself to keep going, look at chapter 2 of the book and identify them. For example, as one superpower, we say that kindness makes you emotionally bulletproof. When someone is upset with you and speaking harshly, or when that angry driver pulls up right on your tail on the highway and is behaving dangerously, it is easy to escalate. It is easy for this to really trigger something in us emotionally. Maybe you get angry and you slow down even more just to make a point, and the driver gets furious and you get even more aggressive and stressed and angry, and it could escalate from there. But instead, what happens if you determine, I'm not going to play that game, I'm not going to respond, and you quietly pull over and let that rude driver go on his way? Suddenly, you're not agitated. By being calm and kind, you've taken away the other person's power to make you crazy. The bullet hit, but it bounced off. It works the exact same way in our marriages. If your wife is tired and stressed and being critical that day, and instead of responding in kind, you treat her with grace and kindness and love anyway, what will happen? You'll feel so much lighter, and even better, she will probably feel kind of bad and her heart will soften. Or maybe in your life, another superpower was more obvious. If you've had any moments where you suddenly understood what your spouse was thinking or feeling a lot more clearly, you've experienced the fact that kindness gives you X-ray vision. It turns out that this effort we've been doing to intentionally reframe our thoughts about our spouse from negative to positive has this side effect. We suddenly become more attuned to their point of view. It may have to be done on purpose at first, but it'll eventually become automatic, that you're sort of putting yourself in their shoes. Now, you may or may not always agree with them, but it makes a big difference to understand them.
What are some walls that you think kindness can break down in marriages all around the world?
Mistrust.
Mistrust.
Being defensive. I mean, it just builds trust. You see the best in me when I know you've seen the worst. It's good to trust people and to feel secure. And then when other people can feel that, it just radiates.
John, I gotta come at you, man. What walls do you think kindness can break down?
I don't see walls breaking down. I feel like kindness helps shorten the distance between us as people. Like, it just helps us to be closer faster. Our marriage thrives the most when we're both actively seeking to be kind to each other.
Yeah. And like going back to what Vicky was saying about, you know, re-loving and re-falling in love with somebody, it's like you have to continue to be kind. And I think that seeps into your everyday. Like if I have a happy home, when I leave my home, I can also like spread that happiness and joy to, like, you know, when I'm going to the groceries and checking out, you know.
As a final superpower to mention, we already talked in an earlier session about our finding that kindness melts through walls. Your spouse may have started out with a bit of a wall up against you, and maybe they still do at times, but maybe you see that your words or actions of kindness melt right through it. Now, your spouse can still choose to brick up their heart again, but it becomes more work for them. Eventually, we found that so often the walls come down entirely. And if they haven't yet come down, listen, you can still move forward. You can still look ahead and anticipate the day when you'll see those walls disappear. You can still put some success strategies into place for the long term, like keeping that journal or notebook going and experimenting with different words or actions and jotting down what you learn and what you see. Do that over a longer period of time and then look back, and you'll almost certainly be encouraged to keep going and not give up. As you do move forward, I hope you'll consider one final truth. Most of what you've been learning is a profound lesson that is worth celebrating all on its own. Although we want more enjoyment in our relationships, those relationships are not all about us. God has given us the opportunity to be a blessing in the life of someone else, and that is both a gift and a responsibility. Perhaps most important, as we develop a competence at kindness, we have the opportunity to shine that light into the world. And there is nothing our world needs more than married couples whose marriages shine brightly and show that God's way of kindness is the best way. That, my friends, would be the best kind of game changer.
What are some things that you took from the challenge that was amazing for you that you want to continue to do even after these 30 days?
I think one of the easiest things to do was just little acts of kindness, just to do little things. And that when she would ask me to do something, I felt as a result of doing the 30-day challenge, I felt more inclined to do it. I mean, we were lying there in bed one night, ready to go to sleep, and she said, could you do something that would involve going downstairs to the car?
I was
and
so
without
tired.
thinking, as I might have in the past, yeah, okay. But I didn't even think about it. I said, yeah, of course I will. And happy to do it, happy to run little errands for her. And in the past, it used to be like, if she would say something like, could you get me a glass of water or something? Now, if Tony were to ask me for a glass of water, hey, sure, I'll change your oil. Sure, I'll re-roof your house, no problem. She's asking me for a glass of water, and I'm like, okay, what kind of power trip is this? So, I mean, what is she doing here? But I'm finding it so much easier now to do that.
It really helped us a lot, and we felt like we were okay.
Yeah.
We thoroughly enjoy each other.
It lightens the mood. The whole atmosphere is lightened. And one thing I found too, that it makes you ultra sensitive to whenever there is any negativity. It just makes your antenna goes up, like you're just more sensitive to it.
You just don't realize how unkind you have been until you're really intentional about being kind.
Thank you, guys.